Peace within me. Peace surrounding me. Peace from me. By thy grace, let there be peace. Centering in. Sense your breath, breathing in peace, breathing out peace. Let your body rest in the physical sensation of being held. Wherever you are sitting, opening to the experience of peace within, peace surrounding, peace from. Opening to the experience of being peace. Resting in our divine nature that is peace. Even for just a few moments, for a few breaths. And in these words of Saint Teresa of Avila, I invite you to repeat them silently in the voice of your own heart, and let them draw you inward before we move those words outward, as I've adapted them today. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I be aware of my true nature. May I be healed. May I be a source of healing to others. May I dwell in the breath of God. And now, filled with our awareness, we make that offering to those we love, to those for whom it is so easy to see their divine essence. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you be aware of your true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing to others. May you know you dwell in the breath of God. And now, held in that breath, we offer this blessing for our community, for those in our city, for those at war, those suffering from the effects of war that they cannot run away from, that they cannot hide from, for refugees, for all victims of violence and injustice. We offer this for all those in leadership, for all those who answer the call to be sources of healing, to feed and tend the earth and all in it, in need in any way. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you be aware of your true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing. And may you awaken to the truth that you dwell in the breath of God. May we be at peace. May our hearts remain open. May we awaken to our true nature and be healed and sources of healing for others. And may we live in the truth that we dwell in the breath of God, so that we radiate the peace that is our true nature. And taking a deeper breath in, letting yourself exhale fully and peacefully. Bring your awareness back into this moment, into this space, held in the breath of God. So how is your inner peace radiating these days? It might feel like a loaded question. I've been thinking all week about that quote from Krista Tippett about hope, and that she says, like all virtues, and I inserted peace into that. Peace, like hope, is a choice that becomes a practice, that becomes spiritual muscle memory. And in that choosing, or trying to remember to choose, to use that particular spiritual muscle memory this week, sometimes it came, right? Sometimes that awareness was there and it was easy to touch. If you're anything like me anyways, the feeling of peace ebbs and flows. But I'm also struck by the reminder that while we can actively choose to step into that, to let it become our practice, to find that inner peace, we are also incarnations, like Jesus, fully divine in our full humanness. And so, while the human part of us can say, I choose this, I will practice this, I will bumble and fumble my way into being peace, in truth, there really is no peace to achieve or to receive. There's only more or less skillfully awakening to our truth that we are beings of peace. God calls that forth in us, as us, through us. And I felt very much the presence of those three faces of God as I was thinking about my practices with peace this week, so that I could show up in some semblance of my own integrity to lead you to think about your practices of peace. And the truth of that is that there are moments, actually this morning when the snowplow woke me up at 4:30, even earlier than my usual Sunday morning wake up, I didn't feel initially super peaceful. But then that not too deep blanket of snow, after the noise of the plow went through my neighborhood, was so quiet. And that blanket of fresh whiteness looked peaceful. And so I think about that face of God that is evident to me on a cold winter starry night. The little sliver of moon following me last night as I drove home from a lovely gathering. That starry night, that sense of God beyond us, the ground of our being, principle, source of everything alive in the universe, including those stars that we are made of. There is that sense of peace when I look at the hugeness of the universe and feel myself just a small, hopefully healthy cell in all of that. And then there is that face of God beside us, that we celebrate the incarnation of Jesus, and that the peace of that incarnation is here in these incarnations as well. The peace of a beloved beside us. The peace that Jesus shares with us that is beyond our understanding, that is connected to that sense of the ground of our being, our birthright as beings of peace. And it's the peace that we offer to each other when we listen to a friend, when we respond to someone's heartbreak by just being present, not even relying on words, just feeling heart to heart a sense of peace and connection. And then there's that practice that I sometimes actually find the most challenging, is God being us, is remembering to listen to the voice of God within that is inviting me to practices that help me hear that whispering voice of God, that whispering source of peace, that if I am on a whirling dervish of activity and busyness, I don't hear. And so we're invited today to be people of peace, to recognize where is it easy for us to remember that we're people of peace, and where is it really challenging today to know that we are people of peace. How are we demonstrating, cultivating the peace and compassion, the love, the hope that are our anchors, despite all evidence to the contrary, in the noise of the world around us, that is what we're called to, called as. So in my searching this week, I came across a fascinating website that talks about 5 interrelated ways that we see peace. And it made me think of that prayer that we've used a number of times, and I'll say it all in a little while. It's the peace prayer attributed to Lao Tzu. If there's to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. And yes, we could have sung that song today too, Carol. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there's to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. So this teaching that I came across today talks about these spheres of peace as practices of right action. And it echoes all of those, because there's the personal, peace in my own heart, in my home, but also then that links to the social. These kinds of communities are home communities, the political, the institutional, and the ecological. In the personal sphere, peace requires that we actively strive to establish right relationship with ourself. What does that look like? Right relationship with myself. For me, this week, it looked like when I felt the call of the whirling dervish that is not a Sufi dance of grace, but a sense of me on some kind of a hamster wheel of busyness. Right relationship with myself means hopping off of that hamster wheel. It means slowing down. It means going to bed a little bit earlier or waking up a little bit earlier so that I have time to frame my day in the practices that allow me to remember who God has called me to be. Right relationship with myself. In the social sphere, peace requires that we actively strive to establish right relationships with others for our collective coexistence. I love to use the phrase in terms of my own family and in this family and pretty much every organization I've been in. We are a complex ecosystem. And in that complex ecosystem, we are called to find right action, right relationship with each other. And so if we're taking care of right relationship with the self, then we are more likely to be in right relationship in those social settings that we find ourselves. And then the political sphere. I'm holding this vision. Peace requires that we actively strive to establish right relationships within and between groups of people, communities, and organizations that are supported by just, nonviolent procedures and institutions for making and implementing policy and planning decisions at all levels of social organization. Yeah, that's a tall order. We as a church community are a microcosm of that. One of the things that I love about our shared leadership model here, that is sometimes messy, sometimes takes a long time to get from point A to point B, because there's a lot of conversation around what we have to do between those 2 points. But that's what we're striving for here as an organization. That we land first with spirit, with source, to find right relationship, discernment, so that how we are governing this community is just, is fair, that hears all voices, sometimes imperfectly, but that is what we're striving for. What a world it would be if all of our institutions dealt with individuals and each other in that way. Because that leads from this level to the institutional sphere. That having our community in right relationship with the other communities that we are connected to is part of how we make an impact in our city. So if we have people from our community who are part of Braver Angels, who are part of the Poor People's Campaign, who are actively seeking to feed and nurture people in our own community, our way of being is affecting other institutions, other levels of communities that are organized around taking care of all of those needs of collective coexistence that are so complex. And then in the ecological sphere, it requires us to have right relationship with the earth, to check our habits simply of, are we leaving running water going while we're brushing our teeth? Are we part of the consumer sickness that is part of our culture? Or can we peel back from that? Can we turn the lights off as we're leaving a room and turn our heat down a little bit? All of those simple ways that we have a little way of making an impact. Because we only have this one ecology, this one sphere, this one blue planet. So in all of those ways that we are called into right relationship, we can just pause and not with guilt or shame say, how am I doing? How am I doing? Am I in right relationship with Source? Am I slowing down long enough to listen to Source? So that I can be part of people of peace. And recognizing that here, in the way that we strengthen each other on this journey, we can experience that peace. We can remember that we are born of that peace. And in small ways, and in ways that sometimes ask us to really dig deep, we can walk through every moment as people of peace. There must be peace in the heart if there is to be peace in the home. There must be peace in the home if there is to be peace between neighbors. There must be peace between neighbors if there is to be peace in the cities. There must be peace in the cities if there is to be peace in the nations. There must be peace in the nations if there is to be peace in the world. And that is not an easy peace. It is not a peace that invites us to turn our eyes away from the suffering of the world. It is a peace that reminds us to be grounded in our source, so that all of our efforts for justice, for mercy, to be people of compassion, that our efforts are grounded first in God. It is not an easy path that we have said yes to. But our assignment has not changed. We are called to be people of hope, people of peace, people of compassion and connection. And together, we can continue to say, yes, my heart is at peace, it is open. I live from my true nature. I am healed and I am a source of healing because I dwell in the breath of God. Peace. 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 And so it is. Amen.